In a bustling town in Lagos lived a very wealthy, young and handsome man named Lipson Wood, the CEO of Colossus Hotel in the big city of Lagos, Ikeja, one of the biggest hotels in Lagos. He was every woman's dream, soft-spoken, fashionable, loving and calm. Mr. Lipstein was admired by his workers, who saw him as a role model. Female workers in the hotel, both single and married, wished that he could find them attractive. The smell of his perfume was enticing. Mr. Lipstein was always appearing very neat. He was everything and more. He had everything at his beck and call. But what he didn't have was a relationship. He wasn't lucky with women. He wished he could find the perfect woman for himself. A woman who would love him for who he is and not for what he has. On a very fateful day at the hotel, while he was at the reception, a young lady who came to lodge in his hotel couldn't resist his charms. He had a very captivating look that would make you look back the second time. She approached him, and as usual, he spoke to his client politely. Her name is Clara, a vibrant and independent travel blogger and a lifestyle influencer, exploring Lagos for the first time. She had an infectious smile and a confidence that immediately caught Lipson's attention. As she walked up to him, Lipson noticed the way she carried herself. "Good afternoon. Welcome to Colossus Hotel. How may I assist you today?" Lipson greeted her with a signature warm smile. Clara responded with a smile. "Good afternoon. I have a reservation under Clara Evans. I must say, this hotel is stunning. I have read so many great reviews, but it's even more impressive in person." "Thank you, Mrs. Evans." She immediately cut him short. "Please call me Clara." Lipson continued with a smile. "Miss Clara, we try to make our guests feel comfortable. Let me check your reservations." Lipson quickly located her bookings and handed her the room key, room 305. "I hope you enjoy your stay with us." Clara hesitated for a moment as if gathering courage. "Mr. Lipson, if you are not too busy, would you mind showing me around the hotel?" Lipson replied, "I'll be delighted to. Please, shall we?" He was happy to be her tour guide. After all, it's his hotel. He usually does this for some people who request his tour, but it's usually the task of his staff. As they walked through the luxurious corridor of Colossus Hotel, Lipson went on about the five-star services they run. Clara listened, her curiosity genuine and her questions insightful. They visited the serene garden, the rooftop pool with its breathtaking view of the city, and the beautiful dining hall where guests enjoyed their meals. Throughout the tour, Lipson found himself drawn to Clara's enthusiasm. As they reached the end of the tour, Clara turned to Lipson with a smile. "Thank you so very much, Mr. Lipson. This hotel is even more enchanting with your stories. You're really a good marketer. I can see why people speak so highly of your hotel." Lipson was grateful for the compliment and nodded. Clara went to her room, excited to vlog about the hotel and share her experiences with her followers. That night, she decided to visit the rooftop bar to enjoy the view and have a drink. As she looked around, she spotted Mr. Lipson standing alone and looking so dashing. She found herself staring at him, captivated by his charms and good looks, until he eventually left the rooftop. The next morning, Lipson woke up in his apartment, feeling so exhausted from the previous day activities. He decided to have some rest and go to the hotel later in the day. By afternoon, Lipson finally made his way to the hotel. After settling in his office and having lunch, he went to the reception. There he found Clara, seated happily. They exchanged pleasantries, and he inquired if she was enjoying her stay. And she replied, "Definitely, I love your services." She wanted to ask him for his contact, but she hesitated, unsure of how to approach the subject. He was already getting into her, and she couldn't get him off her mind. Lipson was a very focused man with a tough heart, and falling in love was not something that happens to him easily. Over the next few days, Clara became more determined to get Lipson's attention. She frequently found reasons to visit the front desk to see if she could find Lipson there, but she was so unlucky. One afternoon, she was in her room and she sighted him through her window. She immediately dressed up and went downstairs, exchanging pleasantries with Lipson. "Mr. Lipson, If you don't mind, can I have your contact so I could reach out to you if I have something to ask about? And he said, why not? And gave her his contact. Clara was so thrilled and excited. The next day, she began calling Lipson, bugging his phone with calls and texts. He became so uncomfortable with the calls and pissed. He started ignoring her calls and messages. So she could sense that he didn't appreciate her calls, that they were disturbing. Clara was not happy that her calls and texts were being ignored. She saw it as being rude. Although Lipson found Clara's enthusiasm charming, he appreciated her attractive physique and admired her dark skin, qualities he found appealing in a lady, but he didn't find her romantically attractive. On a very shining Sunday, it was the hotel brunch. Clara was at the restaurant to have her meal. She saw Lipson at the hotel, but he totally ignored her. Very unlike Lipson, he would always say hi to her whenever he sees her, but it was different. Clara sensed Lipson's lack of interest in her after all the green light she had shown him. She decided to suppress her growing feelings for him. She didn't want to force anything with anyone, especially since she has gone through a lot in her previous relationships. Clara's 2 weeks vacation was coming to an end, and with a heavy heart, she prepared to leave Colossus Hotel. On her last day, she checked out of the hotel, exchanging a polite farewell with Lipson. Thank you for everything, Mr. Lipson. I had a wonderful time here. Lipson replied, it was a pleasure having you, Miss Clara. Safe trip. And he maintained his usual composed demeanor. Months passed. Both Clara and Lipson continued to live their lives without reaching out. Clara threw herself into her work, vlogging and traveling, trying to forget the feelings she had harbored for Lipson. Lipson, on the other hand, focused on managing his hotel, occasionally thinking about Clara and wondering how she was doing. Lipson actually missed her presence in the hotel. He missed her curiosity on things and her pretty face, but he didn't want to call her, assuring himself that the feelings of wanting to see her would vanish. Fate, however, had different plans. They met again at a high-profile charity event in Lagos. Lipson attended as a guest speaker. He noticed Clara at the event, and when the event came to a close, he approached her with a warm smile. Nice to meet you again, Miss Clara. Clara replied in an official manner, sounding as if they had never been friendly. Good day, Mr. Lipson. Good to see you. She wasn't smiling. Lipson knew something was off and asked, Are you okay, Miss Clara? You don't sound good. Clara replied, I'm good, very good. Is there a problem? Lipson continued, Miss Clara, if you don't mind, can I have your time for a few minutes? Clara hesitated, but after much pleading, she gave him her attention. Lipson began by asking her how she has been doing, inquiring about her vlogging and influencing life. He also used the medium to tell her how much he had missed her presence in the hotel. She responded, Pretty well, thank you. The vlogging has been keeping me busy and the influencing is growing steadily. Lipson looked genuinely apologetic. I am so sorry for not putting a call through you ever since you left. It was a busy period for me, but that's not an excuse. Clara's expression softened slightly. I understand, Mr. Lipson. We all have our lives to live. Lipson continued. I really enjoyed our conversations and your perspective on things. Your energy was contagious and I've missed it a lot. Clara took a deep breath. Well, life goes on, but thank you for saying that. Lipson immediately asked hopefully, Is there any chance for us to start over again? Maybe catch up over coffee? For a moment, Clara paused, considering his request, and she replied, We'll communicate about that. Lipson ensured that he would reach out to her as soon as possible. After a week, Clara and Lipson had time to hang out. They enjoyed each other's company and got along better than before, this time around as good friends. They were always calling each other, chatting, hanging out, and once again, Clara's excitement about Lipson grew stronger. She was already falling helplessly in love with Lipson, expecting Lipson to pop the question. Lipson, on the other hand, found Clara super amazing and wanted their friendship to last forever. He cherished every moment spent with Clara. One fateful day, Clara invited Lipsin over to her house in Abuja. Lipsin honored her invitation and went to Abuja to pay Clara a visit. She was super excited to see him. They clinged to each other all through. They gisted, they chatted, they cracked jokes, they laughed, they did a lot together, and it was super fun for the both of them. When it was night, Lipsin prepared to go to his hotel room, but Clara insisted that he stays in her apartment, but he insisted on going to lodge in a hotel. The next day, he went to Clara's house to see her. It was already the second day in Abuja. He had planned on spending the weekend with Clara in Abuja. When he arrived at Clara's house the second day, he met Sharon. Clara introduced Sharon to Lipsin and Lipsin to Sharon as her elder sister. Sharon welcomed him warmly with a smile. I have heard a lot about you, Lipsin. Lipsin was struck by her beauty. He couldn't believe his eyes, as if he just met an angel. She was elegant and poised, with the kind of demeanor that drew him instantly. He asked, "Hope there are nice things," with a smile. Throughout the day, he couldn't help but notice the significant difference between Sharon and Clara. While Clara was vibrant and lively, Sharon exuded a calm and composed grace that Lipsin found incredibly appealing. The three of them spent the day together, laughing and having conversations. Lipsin felt a strong connection forming between him and Sharon, a connection that felt deeper with each passing moment. He admired her thoughtfulness, the way she listened, and her gentle smile. The next day, which was his last day in Abuja, Lipsin went to Clara's house again. As he approached the compound, he saw Sharon outside, all dressed and ready to step out. He walked up to her and asked, "Are you going out?" Sharon responded, "Yes, I am. I have some errands to run." Lipsin's heart sank a little, knowing that that was the last time he would see her. He seized the opportunity to inform her about his traveling. "This is my last day in Abuja. I'll be traveling back tomorrow to Lagos." Sharon smiled. "We'll miss you so much. Thank you for spending time with us, especially my sister. She has been super excited since you came." Lipsin replied, "I am glad to hear that, Sharon. Can I please have your number? I would like to check up on you if you don't mind." Sharon hesitated for a moment, looking thoughtful, after which she gave him her number. "Thank you so much, Sharon." He went inside, feeling so excited and happy he couldn't contain his joy. He spent few hours with Clara. Clara didn't want him to leave. She was already missing him, and she sang it to his ears. Lipsin tried to focus on the conversation, but his mind kept drifting back to Sharon. The next day, Lipsin took the next available flight to Lagos. The journey was filled with thoughts of Sharon. He replayed their conversations in his mind and was imagining things in his head. When he finally arrived in Lagos and had settled into his apartment, he couldn't stop thinking about Sharon. He decided to send her a message, hoping to keep the connection alive. "Hi Sharon, it's Lipsin. Just wanted to say I had a great time in Abuja. Hope you had a wonderful day." To his delight, Sharon responded quickly. "Hi Lipsin, it was great having you here. Thank God for Mercy Journey." Wow! Lipsin jumped in excitement. "Thank you, Sharon. It was nice meeting you," he said. Lipsin's message became more frequent. Sharon began to wonder why he keeps calling and texting her. She asked her sister Clara how her friend was doing and asked if she had heard from him. And she said, "It's been 5 days since I heard from Lipsin. I guess he's very busy." Lipsin is a very busy man, sis. I think that's why he hasn't called yet. The look on Sharon's face was, whoa. "Busy, huh? Alright, if you say so. Why haven't you checked on him yourself?" And Clara said, "I have, but he's not picking." At this point, Sharon had to excuse herself, saying, "Alright, good for both of you." She went to her room and thought of what her sister told her and began to ask herself questions. I hope it's not what I'm thinking. Weeks passed and Lipsin's call became more frequent. Sharon started ignoring his calls and messages. Lipsin was determined. He continuously sent her messages, calls, hoping she would respond to any, but she didn't. Each morning he sent her a cheerful and sweet good morning message, and every night a heartfelt good night message. Despite the lack of response, he remained hopeful. One fateful day, Sharon finally decided to pick his calls. Lipsyn's heart raced as he heard her voice. "Hello, Lipsyn," Sharon said. And Lipsyn replied, "Sharon, it's so good to hear from you. I've been worried about you. Is everything okay?" From his voice, you could tell that he was relieved on hearing her voice. Sharon hissed loudly. "Why do you keep calling and messaging me, Lipsyn? What do you want? Don't you ever get tired?" Lipsyn took a deep breath. "Sharon, I need to tell you something important. I didn't expect to feel this way, but I can't ignore it any longer. I have feelings for you from the moment I set my eyes on you." Wow! Sharon couldn't believe her ears. "When did those feelings start? I don't understand," Sharon asked annoyingly. Lipsyn responded, "Sharon, I need to be honest with you. You are always on my mind, and it's been a long time I felt this way for anyone. I don't want to hide my feelings towards you. Please, Sharon, please." At this point, Sharon was confused and she said, "Lipsyn, I don't know if I can reciprocate your feelings. This is too complicated for me, especially since Clara, my sister, likes you so much." Lipsyn's heart stank, but he didn't give up. "I understand, Sharon, but you need to know that Clara and I are just friends and nothing more. I've never given her a reason to believe that we'll be more than friends. What I feel for you is real, and I want you to please give us a try." Sharon went quiet and cut the call on him. For a few days, Sharon remained distant, ignoring his calls, blocking him everywhere. Lipsyn decided to take a bold step. He booked a flight to Abuja and lodged in a nearby hotel, hoping to get a chance to speak to Sharon face to face. He sent her a message letting her know that he is in town and he wanted to see her. Sharon was surprised and a bit unsettled by Lipsyn's presence. She agreed to meet with him, and shockingly for Sharon, she saw Lipsyn standing at her doorstep. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "What if you met my sister? What would you say you're doing here?" And he responded, "I've already called her and she told me she traveled. Sharon, I really have to see you. I couldn't just leave things the way they were." They both sat down and she gave him her full attention. "Lipsyn, this is so overwhelming. What about my sister? What about Clara? How do you think she'll feel about this? This is not just right." Lipsyn nodded. "I understand your concern, and I know it's complicated. I have no intentions of hurting Clara, but the thing is, what I feel for you is real. My heart yearns for you, and I believe we owe it to ourselves to explore this. I have fallen for you, Sharon. Every message I sent, every call I made was because I couldn't get you out of my mind."